My name is Milton, and I was employed, basically a resident with the Department of Corrections inside the state of Louisiana, where I worked as a wastewater treatment plant facilitator, and I gathered specimens in the various stages of the waste treatment process. Hey, are you guys using that voice distortion? Make sure my voice is distorted. Okay, and I'm about to blow the whistle on this whole drug smuggling of narcotics into prisons, and that's why you're going to get a very informative information that has never been released to the public, that's coming from an inmate, and also not just an inmate who resided within the Louisiana Department of Corrections, but an inmate who was literally hands deep into biohazard waste in order to help the distribution, movement, and smuggling of narcotics from inside of a human's, anal area to the waste system, where we would retrieve the contraband and get it to the inmates who were junkies and crack addicts, so that they can use the stuff that they needed so they can self-medicate while they were in prison. All right, hey guys, can we slow this down a little bit? I'm not going to be able to wear the glasses. I mean, I'm like mixed with Japanese. Well, I'm Asian mixed, so I don't think they'll be able to tell they won't be able to basically see who I am based on my me covering my eyes. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the glasses off. All right, now let me elaborate on the types of waste I'm specifically referring to, human waste. Though I have prior experience in animal waste and even food grade products waste on a larger scale, primary focus for me for this facility and the facilitation is the specimens of human waste. Basically, poop, to be precise. That was my main interest in this particular prison when it came to my employment and job. I have to take you back to prison to give you a picture of how this all works. Prison has various toilets throughout the compound. Some toilets are only for inmates, while others are for correctional staff. And believe it or not, there are some toilets that are co-ed. When a person flushes their poop, it begins the waste cycle instantaneously. And that's where I come in. I begin my job of following that poop to its final destination. But there's a catch, and I mean a major catch. Some poop has what we call addicted properties in it, and there's a mutual interest and benefits of these properties. And that's where I come in, usually for a modest fee. So some may claim it's substantial. I beg to differ. See, my job was to mine for gold of the stinky kind. It's a very dangerous task, as it requires working in an oxygen-deficient atmosphere, and the biggest concern was always H2S, where a small amount of parts per million can numb the taste buds, and in a few short whiffs, you can go from being a poop miner to getting your own burial plot in prison. And if you know anything about Louisiana prisons, there's multiple different locations where they will oblige you and bury you if you die while you're inside their facilities and you don't have a family member to claim your body. Angola has what they call point lookout, and it has become so full that they decided to open a second location at Hunt Correctional Center, where you can get buried in one or the other if you don't have a loved one. So you had to be very careful doing the type of work that I did, which was usually digging through the septic system to find the product. Hey, can you guys quit moving that camera on me? Like, I understand where I'm going with this, but you guys are making me really nervous. Wait, put my glove back on. You guys are making me really nervous as you move this camera and panning it out of my face. This was very traumatic for me to go back and have to tell this story. So just be patient with me. Let's work this thing out, and let's blow the lid off of the corruption that's going on inside these prisons. All right, so as I was saying, I didn't want to get buried in prison. I didn't want that. I practiced safety. Safety was always of the utmost concern to me. I'd open the grease trap and let it vent, and wave at the guard in the gun tower. I always waved at the guard in the gun tower because I didn't want to seem suspicious. As far as he knows, we were just skimming grease, normal job, normal procedures. I mean, we were, but we were also looking for the packages. Usually it was a colorful balloon that we were looking for in order to, make the system a lot easier. It was usually identified with a colored package. Have you ever seen the movie American Me, where the whole narcotics trafficking into the Folsom prison is explained from a woman who sneaks in a package from her vagina of it's the prisoner's girlfriend, and she drops it in the toilet, and it goes to the piping system and into a waste trap where a puppet gets the balloon and greases up and slips it into his prison wallet. You have to go watch Wes Watson's videos to really understand what a prison wallet is. I'm not going to get into that here. And then from there, it would go into a cell where the individual, such as an American Me puppet, poops it out into another toilet and rips the balloon with his mouth and sends the wire down the cell block, where some random white dude thinks he's getting a legit product, but instead he gets some baby powder and the fool shoots it up. And anyway, this movie was this movie, and there's this sorting out of, from poop to package to distribution to the individual getting ripped off. And, it's just this whole explanation. So it's a good thing that you should watch. Am I getting off topic here? You should go watch American Me so you can understand the distribution and narcotics smuggling into prisons. And by the way, the reason I have industrial gloves on is because I'm trying to keep my identity hidden, and I have hand tattoos. And you never know in this video, it might go viral, and if it goes viral, it could work its way back to the warden. And I definitely, while I'm using voice recognition is still on, right? We still have voice distortion, okay. I really can't breathe with this mask on. At this point, I'm really starting to think if I made the right decision to blow the whistle on this whole system. And so yeah. We would sort, through the floating poop and skim the grease trap and toss the solids in an industrial biohazard bag. And once we had a chance, we would quickly grab the package and look as inconspicuous as possible. Do I seem nervous right now? Yeah. So the free world maintenance man who usually accompanied us, he didn't care as we sorted through the poop. He just kind of thought we were, sick and throw it off and, looking for objects to sniff, because let's be honest, convicts and inmates who are serving long sentences tend to sniff weird objects for weird reasons. And so this maintenance worker who we worked with, and I say we because there was usually two or more of us that did the skimming and cleaning of the wastewater treatment plant and the grease trap. So there was more than one of us always involved at all times. The gun tower was watching, the watchers, meaning during the skimming of grease, there was decoys. Other inmates would cause intentional distractions. Something simple like, a loud scream or staged fight, boom, 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 between two inmates would be enough to cause the watchtower to shift the focus from us to a distraction. I feel like the H2S gas is like working its way through this. Like, okay. Oh, wait, I don't want to show my. Do you guys have another mask? Whatever, let's finish this. We'd get the narcotics and hand them off to the farm hands that maybe, since I don't have to, I could at least do this. This would cover my hair right there. So we would get the narcotics and hand them off to the farm hands that would sort through the crops, like sweet potatoes, and the inmates would, ride on a tractor filled with the crops, to bring that to the kitchen detail where they grab the package. And well, the narcotics are officially now in the prison because the inmates who would be working the fields and the vegetables, they would sneak them in with the tractor. And technically, there are more ways than this, but you get the point of how drug smuggling into prison works. We get it through the grease trap. we surrender the package to the guys who are working on the farm, the guys who sort the crops and the vegetables from the other people who were picking the vegetables. They now bring it to the kitchen, and then the kitchen detail workers get it. And from there, it's already in the prison. Everything's wide open. There was always something you had to be lucky on, and that was the dogs. But the prison couldn't run them all the time at every single place. You know, dogs need a nap too, and dogs need to eat as well. But that's what, you know, that's why I say it was lucky, because everything else can be planned for with a contingency plan of a contingency plan. But the dogs, they can sniff fear. So sniffing a package with bodily fluids in a trailer full of collard greens was really nothing for a dog. You know, convicts would call it finessing the dogs, but it really wasn't finessing, it was luck. And an inmate like me, who has a lot of, you know, mental capacity and ability to translate well and understand his surroundings and be able to implement what's being asked of me for a small fee. You know, usually, you know, since I was indigent, it was okay if they paid me like $15 in canteen, and I was willing to risk it for another 15 to 20 years in prison just to get that package in there. Man, I had friends who were dopers, you know, they would get dope sick, man. So they were depending on me to get that package into prison. And, you know, right now, it's a big deal that I'm whistleblowing and I'm exposing this whole system. I gotta take these gloves off. I mean, I don't want nobody to see my tattoo on my face. I hope my voice is still distorted. But I've already warned the documentary crew, the filming crew, that I have a thumb drive. And everything that I've ever experienced and willing to blow the whistle on when it comes to Department of Corrections on this thumb drive. This thumb drive will be able to be found in my junk drawer in my kitchen. So it's really protected. I got it in a safe place. I mean, you can't even find, you know what I mean, a bar of gold in that junk drawer. So good luck finding this thumb drive, right? So it's in a real protected, safe environment. So if anything happens to me, please check my junk drawer. You'll find this thumb drive. I think this is the right thumb drive, but it should have all the information you need to expose the corruption that's going on in the prison system. And if you think this one's bad, wait till I tell you about Rayville. And that one's actually not a joke, but I'm trying to go somewhere with this. Anyway, hey, listen, you guys better do everything you can, man. I mean, that's why I'm sitting against this white background and I have this suit on. I don't want to be able to be identified, you know? But I hope today that you gain some kind of information on how narcotics are smuggled into prison. And if you really like this video and you like crime in prison and you need something that's different, then you found the right channel. As you can see, I bring a different style to the crime and prison genre, something that you just don't see too often. And I hope you enjoy it. You get parodies here, you know. And the Pen and The Shank is the most unusual and unique crime and prison channel experience on YouTube. So give me a like, subscribe, comment. It helps the algorithm. And that's another thing. We need to blow the lid off this algorithm. And I promise you, we're going to get that in the thumb drive too, man. Thanks for watching. Is that good, guys? Can we cut it off? Y'all don't want to say nothing because y'all don't want y'all voice on it. But I got to say everything. Sitting there nodding your head, looking at me like Willie Foo Foo.